So the US and UK sanction on Russian metal recently may simply backfire and hurt themselves more. Why do I say so? First of all, we got to understand that Russia is a major producer of most of the global metal. By sanctioning Russian metal, the West may trigger a price increase of most metal in the global market due to losing access of Russian metal. Because the supply of metal on the market may struggle to meet the global demand. And this is very bad news for inflation. The Federal Reserve have already announced that rate cut may be delayed due to inflation still on the higher side, and they need higher interest rate to stay longer to fight inflation, and that may delay the global economic recovery. And this is especially for the US economy. This means more trouble for their economy as their businesses and consumers continue to pay more for their loan, and that leave businesses and consumers with less disposable income for consumption in the market. And we got to understand that with less consumption in the market mean that the economy will be weaker, and the US massive debt continue to suck more money from higher interest rate. And for most European nations, that will add more pressure on most of their industry who have already suffered from high energy bill in the past 2 years. And deindustrialization in the EU may actually escalated as more industry may relocate out of the EU for lower cost nation. And for the UK, it may deal a blow on their London Metal Exchange. We got to understand that in the London Metal Exchange, 91% of their aluminium are from Russian, 62% of copper are from Russian, and 36% nickel are all from Russian. So once this Russian metal are no longer allowed to trade on the London Metal Exchange, it will affect the trade volume on the LME. And where will all this Russian metal go? Just look at how Russian divert the sales of her oil and gas from EU to China. Russian may actually divert all this metal sales to the Shanghai Metal Exchange. Trade volume on the Shanghai market will tremendously increase, and that will help Shanghai to have more control over the global metal pricing, and may actually outshine the London exchange market in the long run. I think the Western nation need to understand that they don't really control the bulk of most of the natural resource that the world need today. Most nations around the world today are still using the Western nation currency system, rules and regulation, and as a hub to actually trade their resources. It's because all the system is in place after the World War II by the Western nation. And as this global South nations start to get more richer and start to draw their own rules, they may actually abandon this Western nation system and rules and regulation and stop using them as a hub for the trading of their resource if the Western nation keep on using sanction as a tool to punish nations that are not really on good terms with them. Because at the end of the day, the country that own all this natural resource have stronger and more powerful leverage and bargaining power than nations that actually don't have this resource. Well, my personal view is that all these are, some important factor and an issue that the Western policy maker may have overlooked when they impose sanction on other nations. And when this Russian metal are traded on the Shanghai metal market, it may help China to strengthen her China yuan status on the global trade, because China can always price the sales of this metal in China yuan, and that will help to promote the usage of China yuan on the global trade. And this is a blow to the US dollar and Euro dollar. And we gotta understand that in the past 200 years, the West have a strong control over the pricing and supply of the global metal, energy, food, and other major commodities. By removing such a big global metal supplier, Russian, off their market, the West is kind of giving out a significant amount of control over many industrial matter that Russian currently supply to the global market. And as I mentioned earlier on, it indirectly helped China, as not only China may price them in China yuan, she also have much more easy access to this metal for her industrial need. So what we are seeing over here is that when the Western nation overuse their sanction and kind of is addicted to use sanction on rival nation, it kind of pushed the other part of the world to actually abandon their system and kind of force the rest of the world to come up with a new set of system that is independent from the Western nation influence and kind of break free from their control in a way. And all this does not sound like good news for the Western global hegemony. Something that the Western nation built up after World War II when they enjoyed the first mover advantage when there are stronger groups of nations after World War II. So my personal view is that the Western hegemony may even last for another 100 or 200 years if the Western politicians are careful with using sanctions on rival nations and striking a balance about maintaining global trust in their system and currency, rather than kind of, abusing the kind of trust that people have in their system and in their currency. So in another word, they may have taken things for granted and forget how all this system come about and where does they come from, and how their forefather built all the system for them to actually take advantage of. The fundamental thing that is important for this system to continue to run and to protect the Western hegemony. I think this current Western politician may have actually overlooked all these things. I mean, these are all my personal view. It may or may not be true. Moreover, due to higher production costs due to sanction on Russian energy and Russian matter by all this Western government, a lot of EU businesses and manufacturing plant may relocate to China and other Asian nations to enjoy lower production costs. So are all these EU nations that actually move to China and other nations going to avoid using Russian matter and Russian energy? My personal view is that I don't think that they will do that, because at the end of the day, all businesses want to reduce operation costs to actually make more profit and to actually make them more competitive in the global market. I mean, that's my personal view. I think most companies will want to do that. So it may kind of defeat the purpose of sanctioning Russia in the first place. And moreover, when all these businesses move to China and other Asian nations, the EU will lose jobs opportunity and more of their people will get unemployment. And that in turn will affect their economic, which is very bad for their economic in a way. So it may seem to us that the EU is kind of the biggest loser out of all these sanctions. Not Russian, not China, not other Asian nations. So in a way, this Western sanction will have significant impact on their control over the global trade. Nations that export a lot of commodity may want to start trading in the Shanghai market, just in case if they got themselves into the wrong book in the future and got sanctioned by the West. Moreover, we cannot rule out the possibility of other nation or company to actually resell this Russian matter on the London market and profit from it at the expense of the Western buyer, who are now kind of not allowed to deal directly with Russian. So I mean, that was what happened when Russian oil and gas got sanctioned by the West 2 years ago. A lot of Russian oil and gas may actually got resell by third party to the EU, to the West, at a higher price, at a fat profit back then. So at the end of the day, things will turn out to be the same, where the Western consumer and businesses may pay higher price for most matter and may hurt their competitive on the global market, and most Western government may continue to struggle against high inflation. Then just like how they deal with higher energy bill back then, this Western government may come out with subsidies help for their industrial and consumer, giving money directly to them to help them, helping these businesses and consumer to deal with the higher metal price. And at the end of the day, these Western national debts will continue to increase as they may need to issue more debts to pay for all these subsidies. These are all possibilities that may happen. And I think we have already talked about how this massive debt will hurt the Western hegemony and their economic in the future in many of my previous videos. For example, the American may need to spend around $1 trillion per year to service her massive debt in the near future. Debts interest payment may become US government largest expenses in the near future. These are money that can be better used to help her people and economic, and they are kind of wasted in interest payment. And the worst thing is, these Western nation debts may become unsustainable in the future if they may need to struggle to find money to pay off the interest of their massive debt, as their debts accumulation show no sign of slowing down. So what's your view on the Western sanction on Russian matter? How do you think that will affect the global matter industry? Please comment below and share with me. Please subscribe, share and like. Thanks for watching.